Welcome. Give me 1 second. How awesome is it that we get to flex that Venom Proof Cages logo? Anyways, welcome to the show. This is Big Reptile Talk, man. I'm Big Derek. We got Big David in the building, man. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Derek? I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, of course, man. You're a legend in the game, man. So we got to talk about first off just TikisGeckos in general, man. How did you come up with the name, and just how did the business just come around it? Did you hit Manny and you was like, "Look, I got an idea. We finna be millionaires." Like, how did it come about?
Oh man, so I got the nickname Tiki back in when I was like in elementary school actually. I moved to a city here in South Florida called Coral Springs, and I met a group of kids in the complex. And one day I was wearing this shirt that the brand was called Tiki Palooza. And we just hanging out outside, and one of the kids from the complex is like, "Yo, I don't like David. I'm gonna call you Tiki, because that's how we're gonna remember you, Tiki, Tiki, Tiki." And then they started calling me Tiki in the complex. It started. They started calling me Tiki at school, so everybody at school started calling me Tiki. Then from school, everybody at the gym at the gym I grew up in started calling me Tiki as well. And then fast forward a couple years later, I'm like, oh, I'm starting I was thinking about starting the business, like the gecko business. And I was like, what can I name it? I'm like, TikisGeckos. I'm like, I like the ring of that. I like the sound of that. It kind of like it goes well. So I'm like, all right, that's it, TikisGeckos. And it's been like that ever since.
I like that. So you was the one that kind of had the idea. It was like, "Look, I got Manny. I got an idea, dog. Let's do this."
Yeah, so originally Manny, he's been one of my best friends since high school. Actually, a little bit after high school, and I had already started it in high school, and I sold Manny a couple geckos, and he was into it. And at the time, he was breeding fish, and he was just like, "Oh, you could like, fish. Obviously, you can't handle or anything, but he was obsessed with crested geckos because obviously you could." They're so pretty docile. You could hold them and stuff, and they're all these colors and stuff. So he was excited about it. And then a couple years down the line, he started to breed panther chameleons and eventually blue tongue skinks. And that's when we were like, yo, we're best friends. Like, might as well, start doing this thing together. Cause he was helping me do a lot of reptile shows. And then as he started breeding more animals, I was just like, yo, let's just merge and like, let's make this happen, dude.
I
I don't know
know
about
that's
a millionaire. I don't know about being a millionaire yet, but hopefully that comes too.
so man, just how does it feel like living your dream, being able to wake up, go play with reptiles all day and then come home, man? How does that make you feel?
Damn, bro. Honestly, it's amazing. I sometimes, like everybody, you take it for granted. But just today, I was thinking about this because I haven't even announced this on my YouTube or anything. But we just closed on a property, and where I literally just came back from it a couple hours ago. I took my mom to see it and my family. And while we're there, my dad was like, "You bought this through geckos. Like you bought this, like buying, like selling geckos, and the property is gonna be it's a house, and it has like a little side building. It has like an acre and a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter, and we're gonna build the reptile farm there, and I'm gonna be living in the house with my girlfriend. So, like it's so surreal sometimes to think that like this all has happened. It's taken a long time, but it's just like all falling into place, and I'm literally watching this thing develop, and it's really exciting. I feel really lucky to be just happen to be born on this side of the world and be able to come to America and do this stuff, man.
Man, y'all heard it. Big Reptile Talk first. Tiki
Yeah.
Gecko's new facility, man. He's doing his thing, man. Now, tell me why geckos, why lizards? What drew you to that species specifically?
Dude, honestly, since ever since I was a kid, I think like most of us, we just been drawn to animals and drawn to dinosaurs in particular. And when I was a kid, I always would tell my parents and my uncles and my aunts, oh, I want to work with animals. I want to do something with animals. But everybody always wanted me to be a vet. They were like, "Oh, you should do, go to vet school." Da, da, da. But I never liked that aspect of working with animals because you always see them in pain or dying or something. I never liked that, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. But then we came to the United States, and my uncle, he was already in the reptile industry. He used to breed snakes and stuff, and he introduced me to it. And that's what just got me like started. Obviously, it all starts as a hobby at first. This is fueled by passion and the love for the hobby. And eventually it just becomes something if you work hard and you just, put some strategy behind it.
Right. So he introduced you to some of your first reptiles. He was just like, hey, check these out.
Yeah, exactly. He took me to my first reptile show, and that's actually I had first gotten a bearded dragon. I think like most people, right? But he introduced me to my first reptile show, and then at the reptile show, I saw crested gecko. And when I held that thing, I'm like, oh, it's so soft. It's so like cool looking. And I went home. I just started researching this thing, bro. I went nuts. Like I just started looking up prices and stuff. And I was like a little kid, so I didn't have money or anything. So it took me a couple of years before I actually got a crested gecko. But that's why I think geckos are just like the perfect time, the perfect place. And I particularly have a bigger interest in lizards than I do in snakes. So I was drawn to it right away.
Okay. Now, I have a leopard gecko, but I'm interested in the TikisGeckos only
Yeah,
because I heard that they bites are insane, man.
yeah.
And I say that to say, so working with geckos and reptiles, what's the worst bite you think you probably took?
Definitely from a monitor. I've taken bites from the thing about certain monitors, nothing too huge like a giant water monitor. It's probably like the biggest. The thing is, those monitors, they slice you up, man, and they just bleed, and then you just start bleeding like nonstop. Um, yeah, but luckily I don't work with anything crazy, so I don't I don't get bit too much.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that now. With
I
you
mean, Tokyo
having
geckos I get bit by all the time, but
how, uh,
they're not too bad.
they bites ain't too bad. I heard they bites are pretty bad.
Well, for what they are, don't get me wrong. For a gecko that size, their bite hurts, and the worst thing is they don't let go. Like you literally, some of them will just clamp on, and especially if you're holding onto them, they're not gonna let go. So you have to like kind of like let them go, like let them feel like nothing is restricting them, so they could just let off the bite and run off into their cage or something. But their bite could be strong for what they are for a gecko. Yeah, definitely.
Now, am I tripping or is it TikisGecko? Because when I was watching a video about them, like you could hear them snapping. It was like lap lap lap. Is
Oh
that the one
yeah.
that
Yeah, you could hear them. They're a big male for sure.
I want one? I need to hit you up. I need a TikisGecko. I might be hitting you up. I gotta talk my lady into letting me get one, but I want one. So I'm coming to you, man. Now
For
talk to
sure.
me about your personal collection. What is some of the stuff that when you go to work, you deal with animals, but do you come home? Do you have anything at home? And if so, like, what's your personal collection like?
So currently, I don't have anything in my apartment here. No reptiles, at least. Just because it's since we're taking care of all the animals at HQ at the our facility. It's like let's say I have like a gecko here. I have all the crickets and all the food and all that stuff over there. So it's if if I leave it on my own to like remember like oh I gotta feed the gecko tonight and like bring it here. Sometimes I forget, so I rather just keep everything there and then just just have everything. It's easier to access everything there. Like if I gotta clean a cage or something. And my apartment is just a one bedroom apartment here, and it's not like I don't have accessibility to a lot of those things. But I have had crested geckos. I used to have a big vivarium here in my apartment, like with a couple crested geckos with a hybrid, a Chihuahua and a crested gecko hybrid. I've had a couple things here in my apartment, but then they eventually go back.
No, that makes sense. So you go to work. You do. That's where you give the best care because you're fresh. All your animals is there. They get the best care. And when you come home, you tired and you really just trying to go to sleep. So I can't blame you.
Yeah, exactly, man. Trust me.
Now,
Sometimes I spend more time over there than I do here anyway. So, you know.
makes sense. Makes sense. You're at work more than you're at home. I'm the same way. Now, I got to talk about this, man. Celebrity sales, man. I know you sold, because I've done my research. I seen that you sold some animals to Colty, and he
Yeah,
is a famous TikToker. He's 10 million subs on
Colty.
TikTok. Yep, 10 million
Yeah.
subscribers on TikTok, man. How did that come about? And is he like one of the only celebrities that you sold animals to? But so how
So,
did you meet Colty?
so Colty, actually, I haven't sold anything. I haven't sold him anything, but he did come by our facility one day because we have a mutual friend, Nick the Wrangler, and we just like he hit me up one day. He was like, yo, I'm in town with some TikTokers basically, and can they come by and see some cool stuff? I'm like, absolutely, come over. And he actually wants to get into geckos and stuff, but he's traveling a lot now, so he's not ready for anything yet. But as far as celebrities that I've sold animals to, I'm not too good with celebrities, but I have sold obviously things to Mike Tarzan, to the real Tarzan, to Nick the Wrangler, to Jay from Prehistoric Pets, Brian Barchek. Um, there's this guy, oh, Mason Barnes, he's a big TikToker as well. There's this guy that has like 3.5 million followers on Instagram. He has a show on Netflix. I have like a lot of people that I don't know who they are, but I just like they DM me on Instagram, and then I go over to their page and I see, I'm like, this person's like verified. They have like 5 million followers. It's pretty cool. I've sold geckos to UFC fighters. Like, it's pretty dope.
Man, TikisGeckos, man, Big David, you doing your thing, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
You
I
so you
appreciate
tell you
it.
sold the J Prehistoric Pets, Brian
Yeah,
Barchak, UFC fight. You doing your thing, bro.
yeah, man.
Now, now talk to me about your favorite gecko. Is it the Caledonian geckos?
Yeah, yeah. I like to stick with all the New Caledonian geckos. So that being the crested geckos, the gargoyle geckos, the giant geckos. Those are like, in my opinion, they're just the best pet geckos, man, because they are super, like, they have super vibrant colors. They're very, very easy to care for. They could be very tame just by nature. They're very docile. So I just absolutely love them. I will never get tired of them. So I think those are the best.
Right now, this is for inspiration purposes, because I'm making my way to 2,000 subs. So this is for me and the smaller YouTubers out there to inspire us. How does it feel, man? 70,000 on YouTube, almost 90,000 on Instagram. How does that make you feel being just a big dog in the game, man? And having that many people want to see what you're doing.
Honestly, I don't I try not to like think about that too much. Obviously, I want to get as big as a audience as I can, because that's how we make our living. In this day and age, whoever has the most attention is gonna have in return the more sales, and just advertisements and all these things come in hand with that. But I try not to think about it too much, because a lot of people are going to give you praise, but at the same time, on a drop of a dime, you'll have them turn their back, and and a lot of them will just they won't hesitate to throw you under the bus, or to, if they think you did something wrong, they're easy to judge. They're quick to judge, I mean. So
Right,
I
right,
try
right.
not to think about it too much, but absolutely, I mean, for 99.9% of the time, it is you know kids that watch the YouTube channel, or a person that's like getting started in the hobby, and they're like, oh, thanks to you, I've gone into geckos or whatever, and that makes me feel good, because I know what it means to me. So the fact that I could help somebody, you know, bridge that gap between like not knowing what a crested gecko is and then just being absolutely obsessed with them, that makes me feel really good about that. I feel like I'm giving somebody a little bit of happiness in their life. That's what makes me feel good about it.
That's what's up, man. I'm not gonna lie. If I get 90,000 subscribers on Insta and 70K on YouTube, I'm telling my mom we made it. I'm gonna say, Mama, we made it.
You will, man. You will. You just gotta keep it, the biggest thing. There's no secret formula. The biggest thing is just the consistency, man. It's just keep. There's no like easy way to do it. I've never bought a single follower. It's just you gotta like just consistency, and keep doing it over and over and over again. Eventually, you'll get there.
Look at this. Now this is from Sherilyn Madcat. Just having fun. I followed Tiki for years. I'm
Yep,
happy
I know
Derek
Sharon.
decided to bring him on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see that
Yep,
shit? Tiki Gecko said he know you.
yeah,
Now,
Sharon.
talk to me about hey Fat Don't Talk. Talk to me about collabs, man, your future collabs. Because I've seen you've collabed with Dave Kaufman, the real Tarzan, just a whole bunch of good people. Talk to me
Yeah.
about some of the future collabs that you're thinking about.
Well, so I honestly I've done a lot of collabs with big YouTubers and people who are big in the industry. Um, what I would like to do is do more of that because I I've done with Blake, Blake Exotic Animal Rants, obviously Jay. Somebody I haven't done a collab yet with is Brian Barchek. Like we always talk on Instagram, we shout each other out or whatever, but we've never done like a video together or like something like really special. So Brian Barchik would be like up there for me. Um, who else? Who else? There's a lot of people, man. There's a lot of people. A lot of people. Obviously Dave Kaufman. I know with Brian Cusco, I've done a little bit, not really that much. I don't know him very well, but I've met him a couple times. He's an excellent guy, and with him, I would like to work with as well.
Man, that would be dope, man. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Tiki Geckos and that Brian Cusco and Brian Barchek,
Yeah,
collab.
the
It's coming,
Bryans.
man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna go up to Brian Bartek's place in the next couple months, so hopefully we could do something.
I'm jealous, man. Now, talk to me, because this is to inspire us, and you know, if anybody's thinking about getting into the gecko game, man, talk to me about the most expensive gecko you ever sold. Like one of the, is it like ball pythons where the different morphs they go up? What's one of the most expensive geckos you ever sold?
So some of the most expensive geckos I've ever sold been around $6,000. Um, yeah, I haven't sold anything crazy like $15,000 gecko or anything. There has been, excuse me, there's been a couple. So there's these new morphs, the lily white and the axanthics, and when you put them together, you make the lily white axanthics, and those are selling for a lot of money. And I'm on my way to making those combinations, but as of right now, those are the most expensive geckos I sold, like $6,000.
Right now, a lot of these breeders, they known for their own brands, and I'll give you like Aussie Boys, the Orange Dream. Are you
Yeah.
making any specific morphs? I don't mean brands, I mean morphs. They're known for their own morphs. Are you working on, or can you give us a sneak peek? Are you working on any specific like leopard geckos or gecko morphs that you can't tell us about?
So I haven't. So as far as like like true genetic morphs, like recessive, like albino or something, like I haven't popped out the first albino crested gecko, unfortunately, yet. But no, but we definitely have our own lines. We have the Deadpool line of gargoyle geckos, which are red stripe, like really bold red stripe gargoyle geckos. That's like one of our most popular lines. We have a lot of things that we are not gonna go ahead and say they're our own genetic morph yet because we haven't proven it out. There's a lot of little things that we're working towards, but nothing that's like nothing that I would call my own morph yet that I made up. I
But
just
it's
have
coming.
refined. It's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. I'm gonna be here for a while, so the odds are it's gonna happen.
Right now, with you being one of the biggest breeders in the game, give us some breeding advice. What's some of the harder parts of breeding, and what's some of the easier parts? And give somebody some advice if they were thinking about getting into the gecko breeding game.
My advice, man, this is I always say this, but it's really good advice because I wish I would have known. Um, is don't be afraid to take your time and start slow and have a vision for exactly what you want to do. So when I started, I was a little bit disorganized in terms of like the type of enclosures I kept. So I would have like tubs, I would have like glass enclosures, I would have like just anything I could get my hands on. Now, fast forward a couple years, that kind of like multiply. So you multiply that by, the amount of years I've been in the game, and it looks very disorganized, at least for my liking. So moving into this new facility I told you about, I'm buying a bunch of new racks. So I want to have a uniform look, and I'm gonna keep it everything looking, very organized and to the T. So if you're starting off in the gecko game, don't be afraid, or any reptile breeding game or anything, don't be afraid to take your time. Take it slow, because if you expand too quick, if you think, oh, this is what I want to do, and then you get 100 geckos right off the bat without even keeping two, the animals are the ones who are going to suffer, because you're not going to be able to handle all those animals. Trust me. It takes time to build up to that. You don't just go and start with 100 animals. You got to start as a hobbyist first. Keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 animals before you start expanding, because if once one a collection of 10 animals is a lot different than a collection of 500 animals. So you want to build it slow, take your time, and really think about why you're doing this. You're not doing this for the money, because there's a billion things you could do that is going to make you way more money. You're doing this because you love the animals, because of your passion for the animals. So make sure that you are, that you're not going to run. It's not going to be a train wreck down the road. Make sure you take your time, and it will figure itself out.
Right? That's some excellent advice, man. Now, with you being in the hobby, the reptile hobby, do you do any herping? And can we expect any herping videos? Or are you just like, nah, bro, I'm way too busy?
So, to be honest, I am way too busy, but we are in South Florida. I live in South Florida, so I take it I take it for granted a little bit. Yesterday, I was at my girlfriend. She works at this place called Flamingo Gardens, which is like it's like 60 acres of just like land, and they have like bears and Florida panthers and all kinds of reptiles and animals. And we're just driving through in the golf cart, and there's like iguanas and there's like basilisk around, and I'm just like, I'm telling her, I'm like, babe, this is like Jurassic Park. Like we don't even have to try to go herping, and we're like literally herping. Like you see all kinds of stuff, like all kinds of reptiles, snakes, king snakes, corn snakes everywhere. So that's the coolest part about living here in South Florida. And I don't do as much herping as I should, because I'm so busy, but we definitely go every now and then.
I know that's right, man. Now being a legend in the game, man, has anybody ever hit you up and they was like, I know you sell individual stuff on your website, but has anybody ever hit you up and they was like, we need 30 geckos right now, tomorrow?
Oh, every day. Every day. People, for whatever reason, all the Asian countries right now are like wanting to buy 50, 100, 200 geckos at a time, and they want it like now. They like I had this Korean lady hitting me up like in the spring, like in January, like every week like every single week. She'd be like, do you have geckos now? Do you have geckos now? I'm like, no, they're just starting to hatch, so I don't have anything for you. But yeah, I get that a lot, man. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. You doing your thing, man. Now, talk to me about reptile expos. With you being so busy, do you still get the chance to go? And if so, when you get there, are people like, that's TikisGeckos. I know him. All right, do you get recognized? Talk to me about him. Do you still have time to go to him?
So before the pandemic, we were going to a reptile expo every other weekend. We'd be on the road every other weekend, literally. When the pandemic happened, the expo stopped for a little bit, and then we stopped going. Obviously, they opened back up, and we did one expo, but it was like it wasn't what we expected, so we stopped doing them. And for whatever reason, during the pandemic, the expos, I'm sorry, the online sales have gone through the roof. So we actually haven't, we've been focusing more on staying, at our facility, and working with the animals at our facility, not so much going to the reptile expos at this moment. We do the reptile expo. The biggest reptile expo in Florida is called Daytona, the National Reptile Breeders Expo, and we do that one every year. We did it last year, and we're gonna do it again this year. It's coming up in August, so we'll be there. And as far as people recognizing us, yeah, a lot of people recognize us because we've been to the shows since I was like, I've been doing reptile shows, like vending at reptile shows since I was like, I want to say like 15, bro. So a lot of people recognize us, yeah, and it's pretty cool because, like I said earlier, a lot of people they say, oh, I like crested geckos because of you. I found out about gargoyle geckos because of you, and it's always it's always very satisfying, especially when it's like a little kid and he knows his stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna tell you a story. I don't know if Miguel told you the story, but I tell it in all my interviews to lead into this question. So I
All
asked
right.
Miguel, man, I said, tell me a crazy fan story, Miguel, always involving pythons. And he was like, I got a whole bunch of crazy fan stories. He said one time he was at an expo and a guy came up to him and he was like, hey, man, Miguel, I love what you're doing. After this expo, let's go throw a couple beers back. Miguel was like, shit, let's do it. I love beers. Let's go do it. So he goes with the guy. They go throw a couple beers back. And after he gets done drinking the beers, the guy's like, hey, I had fun. Let's go up to the room. And Miguel was like, whoa, this ain't that kind of party. And I always said, I hope he didn't kill me for telling that story, but it's so funny. And I say that to say, do you have any crazy fan stories or any crazy customer stories? Give us a crazy fan or crazy customer story.
Um. So I mean, I do. I don't know what I want to say on here, but I do have. So we do have our good amount of like customers that they have they're kind of special sometimes.
Yeah.
We have this particular. This is fresh in my mind because it was literally like a couple, like 2 weeks ago or last week or something. We have this particular lady that she this has happened since like for the past couple years. I want to say like the past 3 years. She'll message us like, hey, do you have this animal available? Yes. She wants to buy it, then she wants a refund. She gets the refund, then she wants to buy another animal, and this is all within like a span of like 3 days. Every time she wants another refund, she wants to buy it, then she'll buy an animal, she'll blow up our phone. Like, let's say we're not in the office on the weekend, she'll blow up our phone, and then she's like cursing us out, like all these things. And I'm like, listen, in our voicemail on our phone, on our office phone, it says we're not here during the weekends. We'll get back to you during the weekdays. And she's just like, I don't know if she has like short-term memory or something, but like she is like, I'm like, I almost don't want to sell her anything. Like I almost
Yeah.
want to be like, I almost want to block her, to be honest. But that's one of those stories. As far as like other things on the reptile shows, I've had people come up to us. This is a buddy of ours now. He does a couple of he does YouTube videos too. His name is Max. He came up to us. We were just like walking, Manny and I, and he was just like, he pulled us up like out of nowhere, and he was like, "What's up, guys?" And he had like the camera rolling and everything, and we weren't like expecting it. He just pulls out 2 beers and he just gives it to us, and we just cheer there and start drinking the beers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Yeah, that's that's
Now,
that's what I
now,
could tell you.
that's what's up, bro. Fan coming up, he whipping the cameras like, let's drink some beers right now. That sounds fun. That's fun, but kind of
Yeah, that's
unexpected.
always fun.
Now, with you being in the game 10, 15 plus years, man, this is to inspire the people that's watching and me. Talk
Yeah.
to me about TikisGeckos, man. What was you into before you decided to get into the gecko game?
Okay, you want some inspiration?
Yeah.
So listen, um, me and my family, I was born in Venezuela. For those of you who are not familiar with Venezuela, it's it's really bad right now. It's a communist country. We had to flee Venezuela because a lot of things were going on in that country with our family, and from one month to the other, my parents grabbed everything and they grabbed us and said, "We got to leave this country, or we're not going to have a good future for the kids, and we might not even be alive, put it that way. Anyways, we come to this country. My parents literally started scrubbing toilets at hotels in Orlando. That's where we first moved here.
Mm.
Literally from the bottom, doing nothing, like had nothing. My mom is the hardest working person I know to this day, and she always instilled that kind of work ethic in us. And I always known, like, I've always had a very business oriented mind, because I've always wanted to be in charge of what happens to myself. I didn't want to have to rely on somebody for my financial responsibilities or whatever. So I took it upon myself to really, you know, make that step of building a business and doing all this. But before I started the business with TikisGeckos. Like I told you before, I was always into animals and reptiles. For a long period of time, I wanted to be a professional fighter. And I've trained for, you know, for like 15, yeah, about 15 years or so under American Top Team here in Coconut Creek, which a lot of big fighters come out of there. And I was teaching classes. I was an amateur fighter for them, and I wanted to be a fighter. Like that was like my whole thing before reptiles. Like before I really got like involved in the business, that's what I wanted to be. And one thing, like it ate that training and just that living, going through that, and the fights and all that, and just the rigorous training that helped me use that work ethic into my business. And it just made me realize, like, it's not like there's nothing that could happen in my business that's gonna phase me, because obviously things that make me mad or sad or whatever happen not every single day, but they happen like every business. But it's about like knowing that it's gonna be worth it at some point, and you just gotta keep, like, when I tell you, man, like there's so many times that I'm just like, I almost want to like stop. I almost want to be like, dude, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, because it's so much like pressure with so many animals. You want to make sure all the animals are kept properly. And sometimes, the one, like right now we're short staffed, but I've been having to do the extra work, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I'll tell you, it's not easy. But and we're getting ready to do this move, and I know that's going to be really hard. But when I look back at where I started, it's always made me like really, it gives me goosebumps, and sometimes it even brings tears to my eyes to think that, dude, like I'm making this happen, and thanks to this, thanks to this and all of the people who support us, I'm gonna be able to have a family. I never thought I could have a family selling reptiles, dude.
Right.
I never thought that. And then when I saw it happening, now I don't, I used to have like 6 other jobs. Now I just do this full time, and I have my dog, I have my girlfriend and my like my mom, my dad, and my brother, and everybody's happy, and I'm making a living, and I'm helping them out, and it just makes me feel so good to know that it was all worth it. And it makes me excited to know that in the future it's just gonna even be even more fruitful. So if
I
you
love
have
that.
this dream to work with animals, man, the American dream is still there if you believe in it and if you're willing to work for it. So go at it.
Man, you inspire me, man. I'm about to get into breeding snakes myself now. Y'all heard that, man? Reminds me of the Drake song. Started from the bottom, now we here. Now,
That's right,
do you
man. That's
now
right.
now do you tell people, like, to, if they want to breed geckos, get into it? Or do you feel like the market is kind of getting saturated, or is it still money to make if you really want to do it, if you really can put your mind to it?
I think there's always going to be money to make. I think there is always going to be a spot for somebody, because there's always people who start it, and that's maybe they just started as a hobby, but that's not what they really want to do for the rest of their life. So they come and they go, and there's a lot of people like that, and that's fine. So I think there's a spot for everybody. Obviously, there are certain times where the business is booming and certain times when the business is on a decline, and there's peaks and valleys. But that's why I started selling not just geckos, but I started selling every other reptile because I said if crested geckos do bad one year and I want to do this for a living, I need to have something else that's going to supplement that income. So that's why it's good to have a little bit of variety. But I think have a good plan in mind if you're going into this. There's definitely enough money for everybody. And if you have a strategy, if you have a plot, you can make it happen.
Now, now, with you having so much knowledge in the gecko and the monitor game, are you self-taught or do you have a mentor right now? Or are you pretty much just learning on the go?
I'd be lying if I told you I was self-taught because I don't think there's anybody that is really self-taught. You could take so much information from just everybody you talk to in the industry. There are people like I've been doing this for uh, 15 years. I've been in this industry for 15 years or whatnot, but there are people who have been here for 30 years, old, longer than I've been alive. So you talk to them and you learn things every single day. I don't have like one particular mentor, but I've learned so much things from people, Brian Barczyk, from Ryan Gitman, from just a lot of people, man. And reading books, Alan Rapace, Philip De Vasjoli. They don't even know they've taught me these things because they just read it in a book, and it'd be wrong for me to say it was just thanks to me because it's really all their work. I'm just like piggybacking off of all their work and all their
Right?
knowledge.
Now, with you being you're a legend in the game to me, man. And I feel like it's a matter of time before you get it. So I gotta ask this, man. You at 70K on YouTube, man. I feel like in the next, before I'm gonna mess around and blink, and you're gonna be at 100,000, man. So where's that YouTube play button going?
Oh man, dude. You know what? That's like YouTube is like one of our first social medias, but everything changes so often that I'm like, damn, bro, like I really gotta be posting like freaking 4 times a week for my numbers to be bumping up crazy. And it's hard for me right now, especially. But when I finally get that plaque, which I will get that plaque, that's gonna go in my bedroom, man. In my freaking bedroom. You don't know how long I've been wanting that thing.
Say it's going right above the bed so you can see it when you wake up, man. That's inspiration, man. Now we got a question from a watcher. He said he just got a pair of lily whites. I
Yeah.
don't know nothing about breeding geckos. So he said, should he pair his female with a high contrast like his male Halloween or something low contrast like my cream colored male breeder?
So it all depends on okay. It depends on what you're trying to produce. I personally think there is not enough high contrast lily whites on the market, so I might go with the high contrast um, animal Halloween, just so you start producing really nice black base and bright white cream marking crested geckos, and that's always gonna draw attention because it sticks out right away. The high cream animals that have a lighter base color, they're gorgeous, and there's definitely a niche market for those. But if you want to draw the most attention and get the most eyeballs on your project, I say go with the Halloween.
Okay, that's a good answer, man. We appreciate that. Now I gotta ask this. With you having so many geckos at your facility, how how much of your free time is spent chasing escaped geckos?
Oh, dude. Oh my God. The worst thing is when it's 3 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm feeding geckos, and you just open up the enclosure and you're not paying attention, and one goes flying out, splats on the ground, and goes right under the rack. And you're like, God, now I gotta like spend the extra 30 for freaking minutes trying to get this thing and move a rack and all this crap. And you're already exhausted. Um, it doesn't happen as often as before because I've gotten pretty good at not letting it happen. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that it didn't happen at least once a month, and it drives me crazy.
Now, with your facility that you have now, I know it's private. The public can't come in, and you're getting a new facility. have you ever thought about, I know you specifically focus on the breeding part, but have you ever thought about opening them up and doing tours and letting people come in and see your geckos personally? Or are you just like, nah, you ain't really trying to go that route?
So actually, one of my dreams is to have an actual reptile store where I want to have a lot of display animals. I want to have just a good amount of different animals for people to see and fall in love with. But as far as my facility, the only people that come to our facility are friends, people that we trust, because there's a lot of money that's there, and a lot of very prized animals. So we don't just bring anybody there. And especially now moving into this newer facility, it's going to be next to our home. So I don't want to bring any strangers there and God forbid, risking it for something happening. But
That
eventually,
makes
I want to have a store where we will have a showcase of our collection and stuff.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. You need to. If I was as good as you at breeding geckos, and I did actually open up my own store, I'm franchising that fuck out because you got the game plan. I'm doing just like
Yeah,
McDonald's. It's gonna be TikisGeckos everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But
I'd
you,
be
you
I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I told you I haven't thought of that yet. I do definitely want to do something like that, but it's gonna take some time to mature.
right? It's a lot of
Definitely.
work. Now
But
with you being
Derek, when in 10 years, when you're the big dog in the podcast game, then I'll come back on your podcast and I'll show you. I'll take you around in my store, and then we'll have a good time.
I appreciate that, brother. Now, with you being in Florida, man, and you breeding a lot of these reptiles, do the reptile bans scare you? Or are you just like, I don't
Yeah.
think they ever gonna, ban the geckos?
It does scare me. It does scare me a lot because the politicians here don't understand these animals. They're just they're being funded a lot by these extreme like animal activists like PETA and all these other organizations that don't want people to keep reptiles in captivity. And I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't scared of them completely shutting it out, like all reptiles. Um, so it worries me, man. It worries me, but at the moment, the only thing I'm doing is I'm still going towards my dream, but I haven't. Also open to a possibility to opening up another business if it comes down to that. And I would always suggest for anybody to start, investing here, investing there, doing your research with different kind of businesses, just in case, something happens and then, you have to abandon ship.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, man, have you ever thought about because I know I seen that video that you did about the first melanistic crested gecko from the dude in Korea. Have you ever thought
Yeah.
about reaching out to him and like collabing on some stuff?
Yeah, so I have we have spoken through Instagram. They they want like I'm not ready to invest that much money for the amount of money they want in one of those geckos yet. I would like to see them grow up, be adults first, and actually, I would like to see that project develop before I invest in it. Derek, you still there?
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Oh man, I thought the podcast. I thought I was taking over the podcast. So this is my podcast now.
so
Nah,
so
but
they want crazy amount of money to invest
yeah,
to
yeah.
help them.
So they want a lot of money. It might be worth it, but I'm not ready to invest that much money in an animal yet. That things happen with animals, man. They don't produce or they die or in the shipping process there could be an issue. So I would rather invest that amount of money in something different. But if I see that it makes sense in the future, of course I'll hop on.
Right now, somehow I told Lori Barcheck, man, when I had her on the podcast, I said I think that is just amazing, and I told her I said I think that you're doper than somebody that free handles a rattlesnake, and I said I'm gonna tell you why. You support your husband's dream And I said, that's so dope, man. And I say that to you to tell you, man, how amazing is it that your lady supports your dream, man? How does that make you feel that she's like, go do that? Hey, go breed them geckos. Do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, bro, it's I love that girl to death, man. She works so hard for the business, and sometimes when I'm like slacking or when I'm like she's like on top of me like for certain things like, David, you need to get back to this customer, you need to do this, you need to do that. Um and she's not just like, yes, I support your dream, go do it. She's like hands on doing this shit with me, so I there's no price value for something like that. You can't put a value on something like that because people like that don't come around often. And I've had other girlfriends where, they obviously they support it, they're cool with it, but I've never had a girl that actually is hands on with me and she's buckled down and is ready to go to battle with me basically and to do the hard work with me. Sometimes we're out there and she'll stay till 2 in the morning with me feeding geckos. So I wouldn't trade her for the world, man.
Man, that's love, bro. That's love, bro. She out there with you
Yeah.
cleaning and feeding, bro. She needs a
Yeah.
diamond. Tomorrow. She needs a diamond big as my head, bro.
It's gonna happen, but don't make sure she's not listening. Not yet, man. We still got a big steps. We got the home. That's a big expense, the wedding, but it's gonna happen for sure.
Right now, talk to me about do you Manny? Do y'all have like competitions like if you sell 1,000 geckos this month and I sell 2,000, I gotta you gotta buy me a steak or I gotta buy you a lobster. Do y'all have kind of competitions in the business?
No, we do. We're very me in particular. I'm very competitive, so I'm not. We don't do like we don't say like, okay, if you sell this much and I sell this much, I'll buy you a steak. But we're always like, there's always that like, it's healthy competition because at the end of the day, it's helping both of us out. But like, he just had a huge sale to some guy in Hong Kong for some blue tongues. Like he sold like 75 blue tongues to this dude. And before that, yeah, like it's a big sale. And before that, I had like the record for the sales because I was with like Lily Whites and stuff to some other friends in Korea. So now I'm like, I gotta get the biggest sale. But not, it's healthy competition. I definitely like that he's right there with me, and he's a machine too. So we're doing a lot of our success in TikisGeckos is due to him.
That's love, man. That's love. Now, I
Yeah,
got maybe one more question. I don't hold people too long, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I don't, because, I keep it short. Want you to be able to come back if you ever want to do it again. Now,
for sure.
talk to me about some future YouTube content, or can we get a sneak peek?
All right, I'll give you a sneak peek to a video I'm editing right now, actually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know the show Hot Ones on YouTube?
I
Have you
do.
ever seen the show Hot Ones where
I
they get
have.
the celebrities and they eat the spicy wings? So we recreated that show over here, and it's me and Manny eating the hot wings, and Daniela's asking the questions from people. A bunch of our followers on Instagram asked us questions, and we put up a story, asked them to ask us questions, and it's been such. I haven't done a really fun video in so long, so I'm really excited to finish this video and actually post it up so you guys could see. But yeah, I'm really excited about that video because we usually, we do the basic care videos and stuff, but I like to do like little like off-road videos like that from time to time.
I love that, man. Well, I'm getting ready to end it. Before I end it, I just want to tell you that you're a legend in the game, man. Keep doing what you're doing, because all these comments say like
Appreciate it.
Tiki's nice. He's cool to meet. I've met him. He's doing his thing. Like, you're a legend, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. And before I end my interviews, man, I always shout out, because I'm in a reptile community, a lot of great people. So if a lot of people are watching right now. So if you're watching, shout out to Joe Chandler, man. Venom-proof cages. He makes some really good cages. Y'all check him out on Instagram. Shout out to My Animal House, Iron Dog, Fitz Family Constrictors. Make sure y'all reach out to him. He's doing something for Pedals and Scales. They had a super big loss, so reach out to him, man. He's doing a raffle to help them out. Shout out to Not Loose, Celtic Balls, Lady Suda, Sherry Lynn Meerkat, Cold Blooded Monstars, and like I said, Fitz Family Constrictors, good person. Ball Python Love, Kurtwood, Reese's, Venom Wonderful, Reptile Feedings. There's so many. If I forgot anybody, it's all love. Kara Shea, Nikki, Lynn Mack, just so many. Lady Suda, gotta love Carpet Python. Just so many good people in my community. Y'all go check them out and subscribe. Tiki, don't leave. I want to thank you personally backstage. So I'm gonna remove us, put us backstage, and play the outro. So it's been fun, man. We'll holler.